a name that instantly brings back images of dominance, greatness, and a competitive fire that changed basketball forever. A 6-time NBA champion, 5-time MVP, and widely viewed as the unquestioned GOAT, Jordan wasn't just another superstar, he became the measuring stick for everyone who came after him. His gravity-defying dunks, ice-cold clutch shots, and relentless will to win didn't just help his team, they completely took over games. But his legacy goes far beyond the numbers. It lives in his mindset, his ruthless mentality, and the fear he placed in opponents every single night. Even decades after his final game, Jordan's presence still echoes through the league, influencing rising stars chasing greatness and legends who grew up studying his every move. Jordan remains the ultimate measuring stick for basketball greatness, inspiring generations of players who grew up idolizing him, and today we're breaking down what NBA stars truly think of his airness. Luka Dončić, already hailed as one of the most skilled players of his era with elite footwork and a game reminiscent of past legends, has collected accolades and comparisons, but moments still come along that remind him how massive basketball history really is. One of those moments was hearing Michael Jordan say his name, an experience that wasn't just a handshake or a casual introduction for Luka, but something surreal, proof that even the brightest stars of today still feel the gravity of Jordan's legacy. That for a moment. Luka Dončić, a superstar who's taken the NBA by storm with historic triple-doubles, shattered records, and deep playoff runs, was left speechless just from hearing Michael Jordan say his name. That's the weight of Jordan's legacy. Luka has battled the best players on the planet, but even among all those greats, MJ sits on a completely different tier. Jordan isn't just a basketball icon, he's basketball royalty, and that's why generation after generation, including players who never saw him live, still view him as untouchable. His name carries an aura, a presence that goes far beyond stats, awards, or championships, and for Luka, that single moment was a reminder of just how powerful Jordan's impact truly is. For Luka, that moment wasn't just about being acknowledged, it was about feeling a direct link to the very history of basketball. Because when Michael Jordan knows who you are, it's a sign you're truly making your mark. And that same sense of awe is shared by another generational talent, Kevin Durant. A 2-time champion, 4-time scoring leader, and one of the most unstoppable offensive weapons the league has ever seen, Durant has spent his whole career chasing greatness. And for him, greatness has always started with one name, Michael Jordan. In an interview, KD opened up about MJ's massive influence, describing him not only as the ultimate player but as a cultural force who helped shape the entire identity of the sport. As the best of his era, he was the blueprint for greatness itself. The way MJ moved, the way he carried himself, the way he refused to accept losing, everything about him set the gold standard. It wasn't only about talent, it was about relentlessness. It wasn't just about putting up huge numbers, it was about making sure those numbers led to real wins. And while the world obsessed over his shoes, commercials, and global brand, Jordan's true power came from how he played the game. Every drive looked intentional, every fadeaway felt inevitable, and every matchup carried the intensity of a finals showdown. That's what Durant studied and absorbed. Because when you're a young hooper dreaming of reaching the league, you don't just admire great players, you try to learn what made them legendary. For KD, Jordan was the ultimate masterclass in competitive fire, and decades later that same fire still burns in the stars he inspired. And among those stars, few have lived under heavier comparison than LeBron James, the centerpiece of a debate that has raged for years. Endless debates, who faced tougher battles, who shaped the game more, who truly holds the GOAT crown. But if you ask LeBron himself, there's nothing to argue about, because the moment he met Michael Jordan for the first time, it wasn't just two legends shaking hands, it was LeBron finally standing in front of the very man he had spent his whole life chasing, admiring, and studying. A moment that made it clear even to him that Jordan's presence sits on a different level. That reaction wasn't just respect, it was pure awe. Think about it. This is LeBron James, a generational superstar who entered the league labeled the Chosen One. A player who's carried massive expectations since he was 16. Yet standing face to face with Michael Jordan, he suddenly felt like a kid again. Because for LeBron, like countless others, Jordan wasn't just a basketball player, he was the icon of icons. LeBron grew up watching MJ dominate the 90s, transform the Bulls into a dynasty, and redefine the meaning of winning. Jordan became the model, the unreachable example, the fantasy every young hooper chased. And when LeBron finally met him, All those years of studying, idolizing, and dreaming came flooding back. In that moment, he wasn't meeting a peer, he was meeting the very legend who shaped his entire basketball identity, the man who inspired his entire basketball journey, the one foundation LeBron never forgets no matter how many titles, MVPs, or records he collects. And when you shift the focus to game changers, Steph Curry stands right at the top. His unlimited shooting range, the way he bends defenses, and the way he reshaped modern basketball have cemented him as one of the most influential players the sport has ever seen. Yet even with all of Curry's accomplishments, all the trophies, all the historical impact, there's still one name that sits above everyone else: Michael Jordan. Curry once had a chance to talk with MJ during the summer, not about basketball, but about golf. And even in that casual setting, Jordan's ruthless competitive mindset still came through, reminding Steph that greatness at that level isn't just about talent but the mentality behind. Because even in a relaxed, friendly conversation, his obsession with winning and his sky-high standards were impossible to hide. For Curry, it wasn't just about admiring Jordan's dominance, it was about getting a glimpse into the mindset that built a global icon. To MJ, confidence wasn't optional, it was the fuel. If you wanted to compete with legends, if you wanted to stand among the greats, you had to believe you were the best every single time you stepped on the court. That's how Jordan lived his entire career, and that same mentality is what drives Curry today. Just like MJ, he approaches the game with unwavering belief, relentless work, and the mindset of someone who refuses to be anything less than elite. Curry has built a dynasty, sparked a revolution, and completely reshaped the way basketball is played.